Hey traders, Raghee here, and in this update we're going to talk about copper. A lot of folks are talking about gold, a lot of folks are talking about silver, but copper is one of those non-precious metals that has been recently on a tear. It's in an uptrend, and I like the pullback that we're seeing. So first of all, why the pullback? The pullback's happening in response to what we're seeing also in the equity markets. In fact, copper is up because of the equity markets. It tends to move with equities. Really what moves copper is optimism, anticipation about economic growth and global expansion. And while that may not be what's going on, copper still ends up coattailing the equity markets. So whether or not you believe in global expansion and growth and all that good stuff doesn't matter. Copper does right now. So first of all, which contract of copper are we talking about? You'll notice that the September contract, the U contract, is where the open interest and volume is at. So that would be the HGU. And today we've pulled back to the 21 exponential moving average. Let's talk about the zone that we'll look to capitalize on Monday. So you'll see that right through here, 21 EMA, value area low for July. Yes, I know the month of July is over. However, it doesn't mean that those value area low levels are necessarily going to be invalid on, basically the first trading day of August. It doesn't quite work that way, although as we get through the first week of August, I will re-anchor the volume profile tool to reflect what we're seeing in August, or at least the last year back now, or the last month back. So the thing to remember is that if I can find multiple reasons why the market might choose to kick in support. I mean, another reason, just purely based on not volume, but volatility, let me show you here, could be just the amount that copper sold off today. So if I take a look at the front month of copper and the typical daily price movement range, copper on average is about a 0.06, and then the upper end's about a 0.075. Well, you might say, well, what does that actually mean in terms of what we've seen today? Well, the sell-off from 2.9315 to the low, 2.8465, that actually represents 0.85 a move. Now, again, the upper end would be 0.075, right? So we're actually a little bit above that, which makes this move pretty exhaustive, and it makes it a move that I would like to take advantage of. Exhaustive moves don't mean that the market has to stop, but if it's a correction, it does suggest we could put a little bit of a lower low in on Monday, and that's going to be our opportunity to get long, and then we'll take advantage of what I think would be a minor low pattern in the area between the 21 exponential, the value area low, and the 34 EMA on the high at basically 8,300, 1.8300. That's the look that I'm wanting from copper. That pattern, a slightly lower low, or even just testing the lows from today going into next week. I don't anticipate that the pullback in equities is going to be maybe much more than a little bit of weakness on Monday, if that. I'm not underestimating what it is that Congress might put together over the weekend. So, that would be another reason for the market to think about moving to the upside. Now, remember, some of the weakness we're seeing in equities, this is something we talk about on a regular basis in the chat room, is part of the typical rhythm of month-end flows. I mean, your distributions typically are going to be starting 8 days before the end of the month, but intensify 3 days before the end of the month. Now, does that mean we just head lower for 3 days? No, that just means we know there will be some selling 8 days out, starting slowly and more intensely 3 days before the end of the month, which is today. Today's the last day of the month for trading for the month of July. So those month-end flows are going to put a little bit of pressure on the month. And then that in turn is what copper is going to respond to, that equity weakness. So I absolutely look for the rest of that tendency, which is the first 3 days of the new month, to see inflows. And that tendency is much higher. Again, distributions at month end, and then reinvestment the next month, first 3 days, in an uptrend. This is a much better tendency for that in and out flow. So I'm looking for a resurgence in equities, and I'm certainly looking for a resurgence after copper pull back to the very initial area of that, as you can see here, of that correction in this double green uptrend. All right, hope that helped. I'll see you in the next update.